Alrighty, welcome to Popping Up on a Player, episode number 17 with Gabe Gonzalez.
Yeah, number 17. That's
Number
my
7.
number.
Is it? When is your birthday?
2/17.
You bullshitting.
I am not, and it fell out in the lottery last week.
Dang.
Hey, my phone number is 721. All right, that's too much.
That
hey,
is
what's
too
up?
much. Gabe Gonzalez. Okay, so I've heard your name around town. I know very little about you,
That's good.
but I've heard your name around town. I know you're a drummer. And you drum with who, where, how long you been a drummer? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I mean, to be short and brief, I have a pretty extensive history, but I started off playing gospel. I think one of my most famous artists I work with that most people know would be J. Moss, who got me doing pretty big stuff when I was in high school. You know, I went to Montfort, very musical high school, of course, next to Northwestern, and I ended up working with the Red Hot Chili Peppers briefly for a minute, and then I joined.
Wait a minute, isn't Flea a drummer?
He's the bass player.
He's the bass player. I thought
He actually called me to audition. I thought it was a joke. I almost hung up on it. But
hello, Flea, stop playing. You for real? Okay.
I'm dead serious, and it freaked me out because I was like, wow. So, but anyway, I ended up joining the next best thing to the Chili Peppers for me would be George Clinton in Parliament. So
that's what I was getting at. Yeah, I'm feeling kind of starstruck
I didn't
right
want to
now.
give it all away.
Yeah, well, you know, this is me. You don't know me, but you will.
I was born a Funkadelic, even before I met them, so it was inevitable. So,
all right.
Like literally, I'm not joking. At 5, I was about it. Trust me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you been I know you've been a drummer all your life, but was DJing a natural progression for you?
It actually both came hand in hand because I remember playing my first record. I was 3 in the hallway of the apartment building I grew up in, and I remember I played. It was one of the Temptations records. It might have been like Psychedelic Sack or something. All I know is I had plugged my little record player. I don't know whose record player it was, but I plugged it in the hallway. It was an outlet in there, and I dropped it on the record, and everybody in the hallway started like dancing and giggling because I put this record on. I couldn't have been no more than 2 or 3. I'm sure of that. So
I believe you. And the reason why I say that is because my son was still in diapers, and Bobby Brown's "My Prerogative" had come out.
Oh, wow.
To this day, we do not know how that little boy. I recorded it, but he knew how to turn it on, and he would sit there and he would be mesmerized by that video. And no, he's not an Aquarius, he's a Pisces. However, my ex-husband's birthday is an Aquarius, and his birthday is February 17th.
Wow. Okay,
yeah.
But no, I meant Bobby Brown's a Pisces when you said that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so.
No, my son is a Pisces as well. Okay. But, you know, when it comes to music, what is your favorite genre?
My favorite genre?
Yeah.
I don't really have one. I just like music. And it's like the OJ song. I love music. Any kind of music, as long as it's grooving.
As long as it's grooving. Hey, some of the stuff you played tonight was that a James Brown record you played tonight?
I started with Too Funky in here, and then I got off into some deeper funk. I think I scared him. So, I'm all about it. So I'm just like, But, being a drummer and being a DJ kind of goes hand in hand because being a drummer, your job to me
is to keep the beat.
Not even so much as that, to make people dance. It's more than just keeping the beat.
Educate me.
Most people don't even realize it. It's the beat that's making you feel that. It's not the vocals. Don't get me wrong. Vocals is the oldest known instrument to mankind because it's our vocals. But the second and undoubted champion next to vocals is drums and percussion. Because as you know, in Africa back in the days, we would communicate
through the drum.
Try with drums. So that's pretty powerful, you know what I'm saying? So
music is its own language, and percussions is its own language, just for the simple fact of the story that you just told.
Yeah.
The drum call. I mean, there's even a blue book law that black people cannot congregate in the area and play drums, and a lot of people don't know that.
What?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, that I know, but it is a Blue Book law.
I mean, I studied drums with a lot of great people, you know. Well, I'm actually personal friends with, to me, who I consider one of the greatest drummers in the world. This brother named Dennis Chambers, and most people know him. I'm just in awe that, you know, because he worked with P-Funk, and as I was coming up, he was a big influence on my playing, and a lot of other popular jazz guys, you know, like Lenny White, and just, you know, I'm influenced by everybody, including Sheila E. You know, during that time I got into percussion. My aunt was actually a drummer back in the 50s and 60s.
Oh, wow.
She, to me, was like the Sheila E. of the, and she was badass. And she gave me my first Zildjian and Gretsch drums, and I just remember, like, being in awe of her. Like, she would take my mother around with her everywhere my mother went when she was a teenager. So I'm sure when I was in the womb, I was exposed to a lot of music. I mean, although I was born in New York City, okay. I grew up in Detroit, so I was born in Manhattan. But
when did you come to Detroit?
Oh wow, I was pretty young. I couldn't have been no more than probably a year, close to a year.
Okay.
And
so you're here permanently in Detroit?
Yeah, I mean, I
when you're not traveling,
right on the northwest side. That's my home. Like,
okay.
From right Illinois Puritan area.
Oh, so you grew up in my area, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, and I grew up a little further off out of Drive, you know, because we had, you know, the neighborhood growing up. I was riding bikes past, Smokey's house or Marvin. Actually, my grandfather sued Marvin Gaye over a landscaping bill for that house, and he won, you know, but that's pretty deep.
So
that's where they shot
the
album, What's Going On. My grandfather did all them, the bushes and stuff in the background.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so that's pretty tripped out when I think about that. But and another funny story, the legendary jazz piano player Horace Silver, he used to date my mother. He used to play Baker's all the time. And there was a music store right there on the corner of Out of Drive and Illinois, Grinnell's, which is probably right where the bistro is now, whatever. So
it is where Strictly Sportswear is now.
I'm not telling my age now, but no,
Strictly
I was
Casual.
like,
I'm Simply Casual. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, Grinnell's was right there, and I remember him buying my first pair of drumsticks. And he actually proposed to my mother, and she wouldn't marry him because he was a vegetarian. So, and back in them days, you know, that was pretty weird being a vegetarian, you know. So my mom was like, well, I didn't know what to cook for him. I was like, I'm like, damn, you know. And I didn't know who Horace Silver was until years later, becoming a musician. So it would blow my mind that this guy actually bought me my first pair of drumsticks, you know, and dated my mom. And I, you know, years later, I'm in jazz band in high school. We're playing. I'm like, where does this name sound familiar from? It didn't.
It's the guy that.
And then my grandmother, she told me the story. She was like, yeah, you know, your mom, because my grandmother, she was deep too. So, but I just found out actually my mom was a Jet centerfold. Well, I shouldn't say centerfold, a Jet model.
Beauty of the week.
Thank you. So yeah, I didn't want it because at first it kind of creeped me out. Like, man, all these guys are looking at my mom, probably doing something they shouldn't have been. Anyway,
right.
But I'm just like, you know, my cousin, you know, she's the one told me, she was like, it's kind of it's an honor because she represented, and it was a tasteful thing the way they did it. And I was like, well, yeah, not kind of the way you say that now, she right. So
that's cool. So let me ask you this: can we catch you around here DJing?
Yeah, I'm DJing. Seth, kind of put me. Actually, this is kind of the anniversary, my first kickoff for me DJing, because I've always DJed, but it was usually like private weddings or just for friends at parties. And
so tell me this:
so it was like,
who were your top 5 Detroit DJs? Yes.
Hey, well, I'm down to do what we got to do.
No, I just want to know who your top 5 Detroit DJs are. I ask everybody. You're not special. Anytime, any era.
Well, as far as the influence or
anything, just your top 5 for any reason whatsoever.
Well, damn, you caught me off guard with that one. I would say as far as local.
Yep, only Detroit.
DJ Psycho, I don't want to be biased because he's in my band, but DJ Psycho, you've heard of Detroit Techno Militia. I mean, He's very reserved and humble these days,
but once he gets behind the decks, he turns into exactly what he is.
He turns into Psycho.
He turns into Psycho.
And
that
then
is his baby.
The 12 Tech Mob. That probably would fill up the rest of the 4 if I could.
Okay.
Because they were also.
Who are they?
In my band. Well, Lynn Swine, which is, Leonard Adams, DJ Lynn Swine, I put him on my first record. I put my first record out when I was 19. He was, I think, 14 on that record. So,
dang. So you've been doing it for a long time. So let me ask you this.
It's a collector's item, but, and then DJ Dez has filled in and did shows with me in New York, and all of them. Actually, at one time, I had all of them one night at Alvin's with me playing, and it was Shotgun, Dez, Swine, and possibly Daddy Riff. I'm sorry, I can't forget Daddy Riff. That's my dude. Shout out to Riff. But yeah, those are probably my favorites. And then as far as like personality wise, of course, Mojo is a big influence. I think he's everybody's. Because being a P-Funk fan, he played a lot of Funkadelic, and he co-signed it. If he played your record, you was golden, because you didn't have to have him play it on any other station.
No, you didn't. If Mojo put his stamp on it, it was a hit.
As a matter of fact, other stations would get up on it. I remember we just had this argument with somebody. I remember hearing Gary Newman, and he just played St. Andrews. I couldn't go, man. But anyway, I bought that record. I remember buying it in 1979, and I was kind of before the whole new wave shit kicked off, because I remember music, how it changed in that whole decade. It was like, even Prince and shit, he started going punk rock and new wave, and then like, you had the Bus Boys, B-52s, I can name tons of groups, but they all kind of influenced Detroit music to me, because we were exposed to that.
And it is always about the individual. I want to find out how you guys think. I want to find out what makes your mind tick. I want to find out everything that I can, and then share it with everybody else. Detroit is very important. The Midwest is important, but my love is here. My love is here. That's where exactly where my love is.
Man, look, like I said, I'm a New Yorker, but Detroit has always been home, and I don't even like New York. I'll be honest with you, when I go there and do what I gotta do, I dip. I don't like the energy there. It's too, and I mean, it's motivating, but that whole super fast-paced shit right there.
So you take it slow and easy.
It's intense, and you got to be in that flow, or you'll get ran over out there. I've been out there, and when I go there, it's cool. It's always mostly on business. So when I do what I got to do, and like I said, I get on, because I ain't trying to get with that flow,
I got you.
And it's motivating, though.
For that, it's a New York minute is a New York minute for a reason.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the guy's honest truth. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the tracks you've put out?
Oh, wow. Well, I got quite a few recordings out, like I said, under Enemy Squad, which is the first wave of what I was doing with my funk band, which had a lot of legendary musicians. Of course, Piranha Head, I started him in my band, and now he's like, the DJ producer guy. And then I had Doomney, and I had just all the hottest musicians in Detroit have came through my camp at one time or another. Mike Harrington, who plays a lot of people, Jeremy Ellis was also in my band, and Amp Fiddler. I had a hip-hop band in the early 90s. I got some videos I'm about to digitize and get out here, but I got some deep history with that. And they were in my band. The fact that I had Jeremy and Amp, and we were doing like hip-hop stuff, it's kind of like I've been doing an open mic jam thing, so I've been like kind of, I don't want to say the king of it, but I know I've been doing it since like probably
since Reagan was in office, over the first Bush.
90s, yeah.
Okay, all right. So, Gabe, I want to thank you so much for doing this with
thank
me.
You for having me. I'm like, I'm just happy.
It's my first time meeting you, and I like, and I like to get educated. I really. Thank you, my love.
Finally, and. No, I'm just, I'm happy to share whatever little, they more or less great memories as opposed to.
And that's what I want. I want memories. I want to hear stories, because I never want you all to be a footnote in whatever this is. Call it what you want, but you all are more than just a footnote. You guys are really important to me, no matter where you are on the scale. And it takes all of us to make this thing work. And, like they say, get a drummer son. I gotta give the drummer some. You know, I gotta give you your props.
I'm kind of incorporating that in my DJ thing, and just to touch on one quick thing, it's a couple projects I got coming up.
Let me hear about them. Tell me everything.
So